And it looks like we are live now. So welcome to the Aligned Ambition Show. I'm Larissa Russell of Heart Centered Academy, and today I have with me Dominique Levesque. And Dominique is a gifted energy conductor and spiritual translator, adeptly channels transformative energy. As a soul map guide, she empowers individuals to unlock and utilize their innate talents for both personal and business advancement. Her holistic method synergizes with her insightful talks on integrating higher self into business success. So welcome, Dominique.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, I'm very happy to have you. And it's so funny. I asked you how to pronounce your last name, and then I immediately went to the Canadian pronunciation instead of your own. So I apologize.
No, it's beautiful.
We have like this French Canadian twang that we have. And so, yes, I apologize for that. But so, for those who don't know you, Dominique, and that was just a little bit about you. So, can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah. So, in life, I am a mother. I'm a nomad. I absolutely am obsessed about an intuitive life. And in work, I am also obsessed about an intuitive life, but I also bring in grid work, colors, sacred geometry, all these goody energetic stuff. And then I bring in all the wisdom that I can get from the 6D and help people to weave it in the 3D so that it actually works here on Earth because this is where we live.
I love that. Now, for those who may not know, 6D, can you explain the
Yes,
6D?
of course. So, everybody, when you have thoughts, your thoughts don't stay in your head, even though this is what we think, right? They kind of like all go all over the place. And for our human, we need to put an image on where that goes. So we can, I call that the 4D. Right above us, like let's look at if there was another layer, that's the 4D. That's where all our thoughts are. The good, the bad, the ones that we want, the ones that they're all there from everybody. It's very chaotic. And then if you go a little bit higher, then it starts looking better. And then if you go a little bit higher, which I call the 6D, is where you become an observer of what is going on and you no longer react to everything that is happening. So you're starting to make sense and you're starting to understand the messages that come to you. That is the 6D, where there's no more chaos. It's peaceful. The information, like a mom when she knows what her kids are doing without knowing, that's where the information comes from. It's just very at ease. And that's the 6D. And the 3D, well, it's Earth. This is
Mhm.
where we live with this frequency and this vibration. And when we want to have access to our intuition and we want to use the messages that we get from above, because they can be given by any source or in any way, then when it comes here, we're like, okay, so what do I do with what you just told me? What do I do with that feeling? What do I do with all of that? And so this is where we translate it to make it work here.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. And such a great explanation. And as a as an entrepreneur out on your own who is are do obviously doing things differently, um, how did you end up doing what you're doing? And sort of what was the reaction? Let's start with how did you end up doing it? We'll start there. And
Okay, so when I was younger, and when I say I started working fairly young, I mean very young. I started working in hotels, I was 14. So that's a very long time ago. I already could sense auras. I already could sense energy. I didn't really know what it was. I couldn't really put a name on it, but I was very sensitive to everything. Like if I walked into a lobby and the sound was too harsh, I could feel it, even when everybody was like, well, it's normal, it's just a lobby, right? So I started getting into that because I started working in hotels. And then I would notice things in hotels, restaurants, bars. I would notice how, like, the people didn't make their way to the front desk. They would go the other side, or they would go and sit in one side and they wouldn't go sit in the other. And by giving ideas to the managers, then I started being noticed. And then I started being noticed by the chains. And then I started being noticed by the boards, and they would like, okay, go to this hotel and see what you can do. And when I was younger, I worked until I was 34. I worked on the exchange currency. So I didn't get paid. People would have me travel, give me room and board, and then I just had fun kind of restructuring lobbies and seeing how the energy was flowing in the lobbies, in the bars, in the restaurants, in the resorts, but I wasn't saying it's energy. I wasn't saying, oh, I am feeling this. I was using words that they would understand, that they're human. This is what I'm saying, like weaving the 6D with the 3D. I would use words that were very business based. And then one of the managers actually got me to study strategy. And then I was like, oh, there's actually a strategy to this. And then I started mixing the energy with the strategy. And this is how it started.
Wow. Yeah. And I love, when we notice things and we keep that energy going. So many of us push it away to do, the corporate thing. And you did to a certain extent, rewording and things, but we let it go completely and then we're scrambling trying to come back to it, right? Because it's always niggling away at us. It's always there, but we push it away to sort of fit in and do the things. And sounds like you found a way to make it all work
Yeah,
and use the
there's
energy.
I think that there's a certain amount of fitting in that needs to happen, but there's a big amount of being authentically you, the whole of who you are, for you to be happy in what you do. And I think this is why I've been in business for all my life. I'm past 50 and I still do the same thing. Sometimes I'll change my niche, sometimes I have to realign many times because, of course, we grow, we learn new things, but it's always been energy. And at the end of the day, I always said to the people, you call it vision, I call it energy. You call it statistic, I call it energy.
Mhm.
You think that this is feng shui because I'm asking you to change the color, I call it energy. But there is an amount of adapting. And I've learned that because as I grew, also my vocabulary to what I do has grown. And sometimes people will not understand me. And I'm like, well, but why don't you understand me? And then I find words, right? Because we do want to be understood.
Yeah.
But getting out there is the first step to being understood.
And what I've found, especially now that we're open on the internet, we're global, we don't have to try and fit in to our neighborhood, right? We don't have to try and fit into the community we live in. We can be ourselves and find our community. And yet we haven't learned how to do that for the most part, right? There's many of us who have, decided this isn't working. I need to expand. And when we try really hard to stay in that box that we've been put in, I talk often about the box and not fitting it. And I'm a cat, not a cat. I'm going to push the box off. I don't want to sit in the box, but and so when we don't fit in that box that we've been told, and nobody fits in those boxes, let's be honest, then it just breaks us down until we're we're depressed, we're anxious, we have illnesses, all of the different things because we're not looking after ourselves. So, what are some of those things that you do for yourself? I mean, it sounds like you've been on this path for a long time and really learned ways to, look after yourself in all of this. What are some of those ways that other people might benefit from?
I think that the one of the most easiest way, you start with the premise that everything is energy and energy is everything. So, and you can't control anything. So as you walk in the world, wherever it is that you are, there's energies that attach to you. There's not entities, energy. There's nothing there to attack you. It just attach because it's the way it is, right? You're gonna be Velcro to some things and you're gonna be repelling to others. And you don't know because this is not something that your human eye can see, but maybe you're feeling drained. Maybe, yeah, at the end of the day, you're like, oh, today was so hard. It feels like I didn't do anything, but I'm so drained. So all of these things that are attaching to you every single night, I make it a point of actually envisioning a light beam coming and going all around my silhouette and cutting all of that so that I can actually have a good sleep. And that's one of the things that I do. And another thing that I do is I found that when I'm not centered, when I haven't found my center, my kind of like my point of balance within me, I can't function. I will function, but I will function on a very, very superficial level. And I want to function on a deeper level inside. So every morning when I get up, the first thing I do is I plant both of my feet on the floor and I actually see a beam of green light go from my feet down. And I'm going to kind of like wiggle a little bit, my body to see where is my center. And when I found my center, I see it. I feel it, I own it, and then I start my day.
I love that. I love that. We jump out of bed and get moving, or we grab our phones and we're scrolling, whatever it is, right? Instead of centering ourselves before we, even start our day, just to get, I love that. I love that. In our empowered living challenge we're doing right now, we do meditation, journaling, and all of those things first thing in the morning. And when I'm coming into it, I was just saying, actually this morning, I was just saying, I come in and I have, I'm unfocused and all of that. I need to be doing this before I join you. I need to be doing this before I join you. And I think that might actually help. That might help a lot. Yeah. And so how have you built a business out of this? For those who are, curious about,
I've tried many, many, many things. I've had many different businesses. I have gone bankrupt. I have made a lot of money. I've made mistakes. I've made good. I've been through the whole circle. The one thing that I understood and that I keep on understanding and I re-understand every time I remake the mistake is if I follow my gut feeling, if I follow my intuition, everything is going to be it's going to be more than fine because it's going to go way beyond what I envisioned for myself. And every single time I've made a business that was going to make a lot of money, it made a lot of money, but I also lost it because it wasn't something that I'm not going to say that I wasn't supposed to be doing because you can do whatever you want. It's a choice. But it wasn't was I was what it wasn't was I what I was called to do. And I am, again, a very intuitive person. I've worked on my intuition. I respond to my intuition. In human design, I'm a generator. I try to stay out of my head. Every time I go in my head, I rationalize things. Even though I love strategy, if I rationalize, it's going to go wrong. So this is how I make it work. I always, when I see that I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, I feel the frustration, I don't judge what is going on. I see it for what it is. This is my red flag that I need to center and to realign. And when I'm aligned and I'm following my gut, everything goes well. Whatever well means, because it's not the same thing for everybody. Some people want to make $10 million and some people are happy with 100,000. Some people are very happy on the exchange currency, which I was for a while. Now I have kids, so it doesn't work as well. But whatever makes you be content and at ease with your life, and you're following your gut and your passion, this is what's going to work. And then you hear a lot of people saying, well, I don't know what I have as a passion. Try a whole bunch of things. Just stop waiting for it. You know what? I was listening to Gary Vee today, and he was saying, when you're going to be 81 years old, you're going to think that your 60-year-old look great. And when you're 60 years old, you think your 40-year-old self looked great. So just start doing the thing because the biggest fear is regret. So we know it. Let's not go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's so important what you said about intuition, right? We live in our head. Our society is built on thinking everything through, right? Nothing is real unless we think it through and we can like prove it and all of the things. And it's that intuition. and and then, okay, so you center in, you listen, and you recognize, and you're going in that direction. And if you're like me, then you go, okay, yeah, I see where I'm supposed to be. I'm just going to push on through till I get there. And it's like, oh yeah, that didn't work out. Right, because I didn't take the path I was supposed to take to get there. And so constantly checking in. It's not like I check in and go, oh, there's my destination. I know how to get there. No, it's constantly, oh, where do I take the turn now? Which direction? How should I be doing this? And constantly checking in to be able to do that.
And
And it's a
also being
practice.
okay with pivoting, right? Like sometimes you'll really feel that your call is going left and you go left. And then when you're going left, there's something that says, well, maybe you should be going right. Life happens whether we want it or not. The energy shifts and we are there to shift with it,
Mhm.
which is why you're saying constantly checking in. Yes, for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, when we're taught to build a business a certain way, right? In our society, we're taught very much, you do XYZ, and, manipulative marketing, and, we have to show up, and we have to do video, and we have, like, there's all these things we have to do. And if you're really tapping in, really connecting with the energy, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as it's aligned for you, and following that path is going to work. Like you were talking about, when you get off your path, that's when things don't work out, right? And I don't honestly think anybody's true purpose is to make $10 million or $100 million. I don't think anyone's purpose is that. I think we're taught to believe that that's a purpose. I don't think it is, um, my personal opinion. But
In
we
my
do,
world, purpose equals being.
yes,
Just be.
just be, and connect to where your intuition, because your intuition will never steer you wrong. Your brain will. Your
Yeah.
brain is going to lie to you on every moment, every chance given, but your intuition will never lie to you. It's just whether or not you like the answer. You might not. You might not think that's what you want to be doing. You might not want to be going that direction, but your intuition will never steer you wrong. And if you don't follow it, you're going to end up having to do it all over again in a different way.
Mhm.
Oh, so true. So true. Well, thank you.
It's my pleasure.
I went on a little rant there. So, when you are out, doing what you do, what does that look like, with the work that you do? Like, are you online? Are you in person? Like, how do you show up for
So
what you do?
now I do a lot. I know most of my work is online. I am bringing back the retreats. I do a lot of experiential elemental retreats. So I'm bringing that back, but most of my work is online. I like to bring the sixth sense into my work. So when people come on the membership or on any of the programs that I run, we don't just run the 60. We use all our senses because there's a reason why they were given to us.
Mhm.
And we learn how to use all those senses so that they make sense, not just to get a whole bunch of knowledge and don't do anything with it. My goal is that people will learn how their body expresses itself in the most aligned way for them. So I use a lot of modalities. So I do use human design because it's beautiful. It just gives you all the answers straight away. And
Mhm.
then we learn how to use everything else that will help you embody that. Because like when you're saying the society tells us that we have to do workflows, we have to do funnels, we have to do videos, we have to do this, we have to do that. But if you don't know yourself and you don't know how you respond, you're going to do things with somebody else's response, with somebody else's goal, on somebody else's agenda. And I think that the importance is to be the best I that I can so that we can be a better we. And for that, I need to know myself. And this is what I do now. I still sometimes will go in businesses and help them with the overall energy for fun, but now I focus on people that have a creative mind. They They know that what they're doing is just what they're doing for society, or they are creatives, but they don't access their flow in the creativity. And so they have the knowledge, but they haven't learned how to turn it into wisdom. So my work is very much hands on. Like, you don't just come to me and I'll talk to you and tell you how to do it. We're going to do the work.
I love that. I think that's important. Hands on. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes.
And you have a free offer here, a channeled business mantra that we'll put the link up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you're going to have to answer a couple of questions that are very much in the shamanic practitioner kind of questions, like what's your animal and spirit animal and stuff like that. So it's I like it. It's super fun to answer. And then you're going to receive a card that it's going to have a mantra that's written and also going to be spoken, but there's also a music with binaural beats and a healing in the mantra.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And then you had said that you have an auric field reading and alignment experience. Can you tell us a little bit about that? That's
Yes, for
an
sure.
offer you have
So
going on
I
right
have noticed that a lot of people in the past year that come to me say, what do I not see? And when you were talking about
now.
that box is conditioning. It's what society has taught us. And you want to be going against the grain, but against the grain of society maybe, but not against your grain, right? And how do you know what are the signs that are going to come to you to tell you that you're not aligned? Well, this is what you learn in the auric field reading. So the auric field reading, you're going to get a basic human design reading if you don't know what you are. And then the auric field reading is really going deep into what are the conditioning, the possible conditioning or shadows that society has put upon you. What, like you, Larissa, what do you do in life? How do you respond to life that could be disempowering because of the way you see it? And now let's turn this and make it empowering.
Mhm.
So I'm going to note all the possible conditioning. We're going to pick one. I'm going to teach you how to alchemize it, and then you can do all the other ones by yourself, or we can do all of them, right? But we're going to do one together. And
Mhm.
after that, there's going to be a hypnotherapy session to go at the root of it, to really clear and heal that part that is making you, or that you are not seeing that you're making the choice to stay there.
Yes, I love that. I'm like, okay, what's the link? I need to go check that out. So we'll make sure we have that there as well. And where can our listeners find you?
The easiest place to find me is on my website, so intentioninflow.com. I am also online on different on Facebook and Instagram, it's Intention and Flow. On YouTube, it's also Intention and Flow. I'm not very active. I'm not active at all on TikTok and LinkedIn, but it's also Intention and Flow all over. But where the best place is Facebook and Instagram.
Excellent, excellent. And any final thoughts, anything you want to share with our listeners before we go today?
Yes. My most important thing for you, and it's a huge lesson that I learned myself, is when you are awakening to the spiritual or the intuition and the everything, in anything in life, there's a lot of stress around it. Am I going to get this right? Am I going to be able to do it? Is it going to work? Does it truly work? See, you're in your head. Drop
Hmm.
back into your body. See a globe in your face and take all your thoughts and have them drop into your body and start thinking you will be okay. Stop thinking and start feeling. No stress, no pressure, because it's only you with you. And
Yeah,
just be
just
whatever it is that you want to be, just be.
easier said than done in our society, but yes, a great first start. Just let it go. Let it go. And yes, well, thank you so much for being here and
Thank
for
you for
sharing your
inviting me.
wisdom. And we'll make sure we have all the links and for everyone. Just yes, thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. And we are going to be going to an audio podcast as well. We thought it would be released by now, but we've been struggling with our new rebranding and migration to a new platform for our business. So there's a lot going on. So the podcast is coming in the audio format as well. So, stay tuned because we'll be re-releasing all these episodes as well. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and we will see you next time on the Aligned Ambitions Show. Bye now. Buttons.